Hey guys, this is Akash from ProRadar Vlogs, back with another video. So in this video I have the BS6 Royal Enfield Classic 350 with me here. This is a single disc variant which I have over here. I'll be giving you a detailed overview on this bike, and I'll be giving you my first impressions on this bike. So this bike gets 2-valve engine, and it gets a single cylinder engine. It's a 350cc, and it comes mated to a fuel injection as standard across all BS6 variants. And this bike doesn't get any advanced electronics or anything. The one which I have over here is a single channel ABS bike. This bike gets only disc in the front, and the rear gets the drum. There is a different variant which you can opt for, which comes with the rear disc as well and a dual channel ABS. And if you talk about the power figures, this bike produces around 20.07 PS of power and 28 Newton meters of torque. This is actually comes under cruiser category. So you need that initial pull which cruiser motorcycles are known for. That is the reason they have given a higher torque. This is a long stroke motorcycle. The gearing is slightly on the taller side, and if you talk about the transmission, this bike gets speed manual transmission, which is slick shifting. There are no any false neutrals or anything. The clutch is slightly on the heavier side. If you compare it to other cruiser motorcycles which can be compared to this, which is a Dominar 400, it comes with a slipper clutch, hence the clutch feed is lighter than this one. This is not bad either, but it's slightly on the heavier side. It could have done better with it. And braking duties are handled by 280mm front disc, which has a good stopping power. And you get a drum at the rear, which is not so great considering the stopping power, but it's decent enough. Anyways, we have to use 80% front and 20% rear, so it's manageable. And if you talk about the suspension duties on this bike gets USD forks in the front and twin gas charged suspensions at the rear. The suspensions are not too soft and not too hard. It's balanced so that you can enjoy little cruising speeds on the highways, and you can enjoy slightly bad roads as well. This bike is not made for off-roads, but still you can handle it. It's not bad either. I'll show you how this bike pulls. So currently I'm in third gear and at a speed of 60. And if you can see this, I'm on full throttle and it pulls very good. The cruising speed easily varies between 60 to 90 kmph. That is where this bike sits comfortably and is a very sweet spot for this bike. In that speeds, this bike has slightly lower vibrations if you compare to much higher speeds on this. This bike is not made for top speed, so that is why you will find it very vibey. And even if you compare it to the Dominar 400, this bike is very much vibrating even from 20 to top speed of this bike. That is a slight disadvantage over there, but I understand it is a character of this engine, and Royal Enfields have always been vibey in nature, so we can't complain much about it. And if you talk about the instrument cluster on offer over here, you have a very basic instrument cluster, and you get monsoon cap over here so that it prevents water entering during monsoons. And it gets pretty basic features like you get an odometer, and you get analog speedometer, and you don't get a fuel you get a low fuel warning light, but you don't get fuel indicator, so that's a disappointment over there. And you get fuel injection malfunction light over here, which has been added on for the fuel injected variants. And yeah, this bike is pretty basic, and the USP of this bike is the styling, and it is a pretty good styled bike. You don't you get that old Enfields kind of vibe in this, and you get that very good feeling on this bike. You sit fairly upright, the handlebars are very straight, there is you don't have to lean even a bit, and the foot pegs are even placed far in the front so that you have a comfortable straight riding position. This bike can do long tours, like you can do really long tours. You can even sit on the saddle for around 600 kilometers, and you will not have any issues with the pains on your body. That's the amount of practicality on the highways this bike offers. And if you talk about these mirrors are pretty useless according to me, because the shape is round, and but it looks good. Only thing is that you cannot see anything behind. You will always be looking at your shoulder most of the time. So these mirrors could have been improved a bit. It could have offered a better view as such. The torque on this bike is very good. This is what Royal Enfields are meant for. The pretty immediate torque you get on this bike, which is very, very good. You can use this as a very good city bike as well, since it is very comfortable. You will not have any problems in the city in tight to tight traffic. And only thing is, this bike gets an air cooled engine, not even oil cooling or not even liquid cooled, so that's a bummer out there. So due to this, slightly longer periods in traffic, you will face little heating issues, but that's pretty manageable. Even in the BS6 variant, they have improved the heating efficiency so that the heat is diverted away from your legs, and it's been thrown out of the way. So that is pretty good, and thumbs up for Royal Enfield for that. You have got enough torque on tap anywhere in the rev range, like from even in the first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, any gear you will have very good torque on this bike. That is what attracts many of the buyers. And in the BS6 Avatar, the exhaust has got slightly silent, it has got slightly smoother as well. I have ridden the BS3 and BS4 versions of this bike, and compared to the BS4 versions, this bike is improved a lot in the terms of refinement. Like, it has got a very smoother engine, and the refinement and NVH levels has got better. With the BS6 versions, you get new features, like you get added CatCon, the extra CatCon to meet the emission norms. And apart from that, you get side stand engine kill switch. I mean the side stand engine cutoff, so that whenever your motorcycle is in on position and you put down the stand, the engine will kill automatically, which is a good safety feature. And yeah, there are no much features to talk about on this bike, and it is a good way in one way, and it is bad in other way. So that good way in the sense you have minimum failures due to less sensors, so that which makes this bike more practical to use. And bad way, if you talk about, you are lacking features like slipper clutch, you are lacking LEDs. So this lighting setup is handled by all halogens. The front headlight is halogen, the rear tail light is halogen, and even the indicators. I wish at least the headlight would have been an LED unit, which would make it a very good motorcycle. If you talk about the weight on this bike weighs in around 195 kgs roughly, and that weight doesn't feel while you are riding. It feels like a normal 150 or 120 kg bike. You don't feel that weight while you are moving, which is pretty good weight management, I would say. And if you talk about handling of this bike is okayish, not a good handler. This bike is not made for handling, first of all, so I'll not be complaining on the handling front. And if you talk about the tires and rims, this bike gets 19 inches in the front and 18 inches in the back, so that you have a very good plush ride quality, and you get very good comfort from the tires. The front is at 90/90 19s, and the rear is 110/80/18s. This bike gets MRF tires both in the front and the rear. The grip levels are pretty good. It doesn't have any screechy sounds when hard braking or anything. It's pretty good. If you talk about the switch gears on this bike, this gets very basic switch gears. On the left you get pass light, and you get high beam and low beam. You get indicators left and right, and you get a horn. Horn is very meek. It doesn't sound good. You don't. It's of no use on highways. It's like very meek. It could have been better. They could have offered a dual horn setup, or they could have given a louder horn as such. And on the right you have got the basic engine kill switch and power start button, which is good. And this bike has one more good thing, that is a kickstart. And what that is a very good features which many of the BS6 bikes are missing out. This can be a very good help when your battery is down or something, so that you don't be stranded anywhere, and you can immediately start your bike even if the battery is low. This bike sounds pretty good. It has that good bass, and it has been carried over from the BS4 bike. The bass has been slightly better, is what I feel, than the BS4 bike, but it has the sound has gone lower, which is a good thing on highway cruising. As I said, this bike can easily cruise around 80 kmph to 90 kmph pretty effortlessly. That is where this bike has a sweet spot. There is very minimum vibrations at that speed. And up the reliability front, this bike has been pretty reliable to most of the users. It has not given any major issues as of such. This bike has been completed 2 services, so it uses stock Royal Enfield oil, and it is doing a great job. And you can further upgrade to Motul or Shell for a smoother and less vibier engine. You always have an option of it. This bike has got very long stroke gearbox. In the first gear itself you can do very long speeds, which results in better torque. This bike has got around 28, so it's very good there. And talking about the seats, this bike gets split seats, separate for the rider and separate for the pillion, and the cushion quality has been improved slightly over the BS4 variant. There's a bit more plush cushioning, which results in slightly better comfort than the BS4 bike. And yeah, that's it about all the aspects which I have told on this bike. Please do let me know in the comment section which anything I have missed. It would be a very good feedback. It will be taken care in the future videos. I'll be showing you the braking test of this bike. I'll be going to around 60 kmph and I'll be braking hard. So if you can see, I've reached around 60 and I'm braking hard. So this bike stops pretty immediate. The braking is pretty good considering it's a single channel ABS. I've used only the front brake here because the rear would obviously skid. And you have another feature for the single channel ABS is you have got RLP at the rear. The rear wheel lift off protection. Even if you are braking very hard on the front, your rear wouldn't lift off, which is a very good thing. And kudos to Royal Enfield for offering a single channel ABS with RLP. And you can always opt for the other variants which gets a dual disc as well, which gets dual channel ABS with RLP, which is a slightly better in terms of safety and braking as well. This bike gets chain drive, and the chain is on the right side, unlike the other bikes which comes on the left side, and the brakes are on the left side and the chain is on the right side. I'm currently at around 60 kmph and the sweet spot starts from here. Like, there is no vibrations and you can easily sit at around 80 kmph in fifth gear and cruise around very easily. I'll pull this bike a little and show you the speed. As you could see, I could do around 100 kmph pretty effortlessly. Post that, the handlebars, the foot pegs, the seat vibrates very badly. You won't feel that confidence, and even the stability at around 100 kmph to 120 kmph is pretty low, I would say. Like, you don't get that confidence, and if you have crosswinds, the bike moves around a bit. So this bike is very good under around 90 kmph. That's all I could say. And this bike is marketed as a cruiser and it does the job pretty good. And many users are reporting bad service quality of this, like the spare parts and all service staff and all that is slightly rated in a low rating because the owners are not happy with the service of this Royal Enfield. I hope Royal Enfield improves their service quality and service network. Most of the bike has been unchanged from the BS3, BS4 and even in the BS6. The styling is almost the same. There is definitely room for improvement in this bike. Like, you can get LEDs both front and the rear. I wouldn't expect indicators, at least they could give good LED headlights and LED tail light, which will be pretty good considering this price. This bike, the owner has bought this bike for around 2 lakhs on road Bangalore, which is slightly on the pricier side for what this one offers, but anyways, you can still pay for the styling this bike has and the cruising ability this bike has got. Talk about the tank capacity. This bike has got 13.5 liters of tank, out of which 11 liters can be used for your riding, and the rest of the liter remains as reserve, which should be there in a fuel injected bike in order to not harm the fuel injector or burn in the fuel injector. And according to few owners, this bike returns around 30 to 35 kmpl very easily, and in the city you get at least around 30 to 32 kmpl, which is pretty decent for a bike of this capacity. And you get many different colors to choose from in this motorcycle, like you have the red over here, which I have with me, you have the green, you have black, and a host of other colors. According to the colors, Royal Enfield has offered so many, which is pretty good, but it can be confusing as well, because most of the colors look pretty on this bike. So yeah, I think I have covered most of the topics on this bike. Thanks for watching Pro Rider Vlogs. Signing off. See you in the next videos. Bye bye.